What is going on, y'all? This is Pay Me in Dividends. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about ULTY from yieldmax. All right. If you're not aware of this ETF, this is the Ultra Option Income Strategy ETF from yieldmax. As you can see here, the distribution rate is 90%. It pays out a ridiculous amount of income, but at what cost, right? Let's look at the chart. So today it is down around 2.5%. The S&P is down around 0.5% today, right? But OT is down a lot more than the S&P 500. If we look at the 5-day chart, it is down almost 8.5%. Over the past month, it's down 13.5%. And year to date, it is down 45% in share price. Even if we look at the change, which was back in March or April, is when they changed their strategy on this ETF, it is still down, right? I mean, if you look at the past 6 months, again, it's down 13.5%. So the question now is, are they in reverse split territory? Now, according to my research, the New York Stock Exchange does not have a hard policy stating that an ETF has to reverse split. It is up to the ETF manager, but there could be liquidity issues and things like that if you allow the price to drop too much. And so I want to get some people's take over here on X and see what people are talking about. All right. So I'm coming over here. I'm just typing in OT. And again, I just want to kind of check the temperature of what other investors are saying. And look at this. First person who pops up is Eugene Vasquez, one of my buddies here that makes videos as well. He says OT at this price is a gift with a laughing emoji. All right. So it is below $5 a share. So it is getting real right now. All right. Let's see what old Mark here, Mark Parker. I'm not sure who this guy is, but he has something to say about it. All right. Any truth to the rumor that yieldmax ETFs has to distribute all funds to shareholders by October 31st? For OT, that would be about 88 cents a share. A nice shot in the arm for hodlers. I'm not quite sure what he's referring to. I don't know if he's kind of insinuating that it could get delisted. I don't want to go that far. But there is a lot of talk, right? So this guy Roomba is saying if NAV doesn't bounce back to 5.4 by the end of November, I am totally out of OT. He's gonna sell his OT. All right. Now, mind you, I just want to let you guys know, I personally am not invested into OT. Never have I bought any OT. I have no dog in this fight. But the reason I cover this fund on my channel is because it's a hot topic, right? It's an ETF that a lot of high yield investors put their money into. Again, this thing pays out a ridiculous amount of income, but you have to ask yourself at what cost, right? Do you really want to see your principal dwindle down into a black hole just to receive a dividend check? I think there's better alternatives, right? I think there's better alternatives like WPay, right? Which is still a very new ETF. It does have leverage and it is down over 3% today. But when the market picks up again, it'll be up again, right? So I just think there's other alternatives that we can lean on as high yield investors. And so, again, I just wanted to check the temperature of other high yield investors and see what other people are thinking. All right. Somebody here has a chart up of WPay versus OT and yieldmax since WPay inception. You can see that WPay has been outperforming both of those. Um, This guy says, unpopular opinion, OT is trash. I think a lot of people share that same sentiment. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. Some people like it, some people don't. This guy says, why not? As long as they keep paying 9 cents or higher, I'm good. And I started a position in WPay using OT dividends. So he remained in his OT position, took the dividends from OT, and then bought some WPay. All right. So he took some play money and put it into WPay. All right. Not a bad move. This guy, OT, dropped below $5 a share. Time to cut the bait, move the funds over to NEOS, QQQI, and BTCI. I think those are both good plays, right? Income drops, but total return and tax efficiency should rise. All right. Now, I just want to give you guys some insight as to how some of these super high yielding ETFs can actually sustain their income. And I'm going to use HOOW from Brown Hill as an example. Now, I am cherry picking here, but you can see that HOOW, let's look at the chart, all right? You can see that since inception, it is up 18% just in share price, and that entire time, they've been paying a ridiculous amount of income. So, what is the difference between this and OT? Well, the difference is obviously this does have some leverage on it, but I think the bigger point here is the underlying asset is up 211% year to date. All right, the hood stock is up a crazy amount this year. So, by extension, HOOW is going to be up even with this ultra high dividend yield. And then even if we go over here to Market Chameleon and look at the implied volatility, we can see it's currently sitting at 74. It is above its 52-week average. Now, granted, the strategy that Roundhill uses on this isn't option income. It is from swaps. So the volatility isn't as important with this strategy, but it does show that it's a highly volatile stock. The stock moves right, up into the right. And once the actual Robinhood stock cools down, we could see the performance of HOOW cool down along with the distribution rate. But as for now, it'll keep flying, right? And it'll continue to pay this amazing dividend where again OT, yes, they did change their strategy. I know that was a hot topic. I've even covered it on my channel. Yes, they do hold shares of companies now. It's not completely synthetic. However, they dragged this ETF down into the hole so far before they switched up their strategy that it was extremely difficult to recover any losses that they had already made in the beginning of this fund. It was just very difficult to have a fund running for let's see the inception back in 2024 for about a year, and then you switch up the strategy. It's hard to pick things up after an entire year of your share price being down. It looks like around 72% before they even changed the strategy. Now, if they came out the gate when during the inception of OT with their current strategy and maybe held some better companies in here. These are very volatile companies. Granted, the purpose of this ETF is purely income, so I understand having these volatile, stocks in here. But I mean, you look at Rigetti Computing, right? RGTI. This is a super volatile stock. This thing was trading at, you know, $5 or less last year, and it's now like 50 plus dollars a share. You have Coinbase, which always fluctuates in price. Robinhood has performed amazing, Palantir, but again, it's a little too late to implement this strategy and incorporate these companies after a year of 70% loss in share price. So I want to get y'all's take. Whoever's watching this video, I want to get your take in the comments on what do you think about OT? If you hold OT, let me know what your strategy is. I'm genuinely curious. I'm not here to rag on anybody. I'm always curious to see how other investors think, how other income investors think. I am impressed at some people's breakdown of their perspective on some of these funds. Some people really don't care about the principal loss. They're looking for pure income, especially if OT isn't a big portion of their portfolio. So I'm genuinely curious. You guys let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on OT. If you do hold OT, are you going to get out of it? Or are you going to hold on to it? Just keep in mind that if it does reverse split, assuming that the distribution or the distribution yield remains the same, your position essentially remains the same. Just know that over time, if this thing continues to erode and a stop, a reverse split becomes a pattern, it just might not look good on paper in your portfolio, but essentially your position will remain the same, which is kind of a silver lining for OT investors. So again, you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think about OT? I am genuinely curious to know your thoughts. As always, I appreciate you stopping by the channel, and I will catch you in the next video.